We are Legion.
What is up, comic fan? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. Happy Tuesday. Happy new DC Day. For those of you that get to start your new comic book days on Tuesdays, I know it's a blast for me. I hope it is for you as well. We're going to get into some stuff. We're going to look at some of the books that came out, talk about some of the ones that came out last week, as well as look at some of the exciting news that has dropped surrounding the Black Adam release. There's been all kinds of cool stuff that's popped up in the last couple of days that I want to touch on. But before we do any of that, check this out. I want to give a big thank you to Big Time Collectibles for sponsoring the channel and the monthly Legion Loot giveaway for the channel members. Be sure to check them out at bigtimecollectibles.com and be sure to follow my Instagram because I'll be posting up what the prize for this month's giveaway is. It's going to be huge. Got some awesome stuff lined up in there for everybody who's a channel member and included in that giveaway. And then if you need anything cleaned or pressed, hit up our friend Justin over on Instagram. He can take care of you for as little as $10 a book. And if you use the promo code We Are Legion or let him know that you found him through the channel here, you can take advantage of that buy two, get one free special offer that he's running for the channel viewers. All right, so let's get into it. Let's go ahead and kick off by saying hello to anybody that's in the chat already. We got Las Crucias 1971 in there at the beginning. What is going on, my friend? Dale of Suspense channel member right there, throwing up those custom emojis that are available if you're a channel member. We got Wheelchair Superhero 87. Happy new DC Day. We Are Legion. Absolutely. Trev, the shipping guru, is in there. I love seeing those custom emojis. It just makes me happy. Spent a lot of time trying to figure those things out to put them in here. Wasn't easy. House of L Comics, hello to you. And thank you again for the donation to the Comics Curing Cancer event that we did this past weekend. Huge, huge success because of people like yourself that helped make it possible, and all the people who shared the streams out, who bought stuff, who donated stuff, who hosted streams. It was just insane. We raised over $22,000 that went directly to the American Cancer Society. Just absolutely mind-blowing. Cannot believe how much of this community came together and showed up and showed out. So I guess first off, we'll kick off by looking at the books that dropped this week. And depending on how long it goes, I'll try to touch on some from last week because I did not do a standard review show Sunday night like I typically do because Black Adam released. There was a special episode of At Week's End where we just talk spoilers and discuss the film and all that good stuff. So if this doesn't go on too long, if the kids don't show up before I'm done, I'll talk about and review some of the ones from last week, which there were some good ones in there. I still haven't caught up fully. So now at this point, books are starting to stack from last week and this week. And of course, before we leave, we'll be giving away this beautiful Action Comics issue number 1048 variant by the amazing Ivan Tao. They are doing the Black Adam movie variants across the DC line right now to celebrate the film coming out. They tend to do that with whenever they do have any kind of film property coming, which are always fun to grab. I like to get the movie photo variant ones. It's always a blast, and I typically pick up one or two along the way. Yeah, there's been a lot of Black Adam ones I want to pick up, but I just haven't gone down that rabbit hole. There's a couple that I'm probably going to seek out in CGC, like the Perillo one we gave away last week. I definitely want one of those. And then there's, they had all of them on it, all the JSA on it. But yeah, let's take a look at some of the stuff that dropped this week. Let's see. We need a Shazam Bolt member emoji. Yeah, I can make that happen. There are other emojis. I have the ability to add more emojis. It's based on how many channel members you have. And like I think it starts out giving you 4 or 5, but we blew that out of the water as soon as I launched the channel membership. And I think I have slots to make 2 more to put in there. But I'm just trying to play catch up with everything these days, man. I feel like I'm always just trying to stay caught up. Probably cover the week for you. Yeah, it's a good one. I know that it was the Comic Vets cover of the week. It was his hot pick for the week. Mine is a different cover of the week, but it is in this stack. I'm excited to share it. I'm saving it for last, though. It is glorious. Mr. Beckerman is in the building. I love Beckerman. I can happily say that I typically start my days off with talking to him before anybody. He's always up early, as am I. And start my day off right with a double dose of Beckerman. What is going on, Joffrey? Glad you can make it. Hello, hello. So let's kick it off. First off, the new DC Connect dropped this week. So if you're one of those people that like to look ahead and see what's coming and when and check out covers ahead of time and place your orders through your LCS, this is also a way that you can do that to guarantee that you don't miss out on anything specific that you're looking for. They have those order forms in the back of the book there. So that's always dope. And it's featuring the upcoming event, Lazarus Planet. So this is not like a summer event. Do want to make that clear. It's more like the Endless Winter thing they did. We've had that first volume of World's Finest, the current Batman versus Robin, and it's all coming to a head in this. This will be like the finale, like the bookend to the Demon Azah story, which has been phenomenal. I love that it's focusing on the magic-based characters and everything, and we're going to get all kinds of cool mashups, as well as the return of Electric Blue Superman, but this time John Kent's going to be donning it, so I'm really excited for that. And if you are any of those people that chase down John Jane covers, I'll give you a heads up. Lazarus Planet will have an alpha issue one-shot, and the 1 in 25 will be this epic John Jane cover with Cyborg in a giant mech suit. So, yeah, because we were the only ones awake. That is a fact. Great video this morning, Mike and Alan. Oh, yeah, great long video, too. So if you're trying to kill some time, there's no better place to kill it than with Beckerman and the Comic Viking. 67 million opening weekend, but Hollywood says it's a bad movie. Yeah, touch on Black Adam. We'll talk about some of that here in just a little bit as well, but 67 million domestic. It's grossed over 150 million worldwide already in the opening weekend. Yeah. Hypocritical Hollywood. That's what's pretty funny about it. But yeah, first off, one that I'm excited to get into is Tom King's The Human Target, and this one's going to be issue number 8. Gorgeous cover with Rocket Red right there, and he's got Chris chained up and clearly interrogating him with violence. And the whole solicitation behind this one is that Rocket Red shows up looking for Guy, and we know he's not going to find him for reasons if you're not reading it, because this is not a spoiler show. That's for Sunday nights. But this has been phenomenal. Greg Smallwood's art in this is just takes it away, and each issue is kind of have this same back cover where the days are kind of ticking down. It's 12 issues. Chris has 12 days to live. Each issue is a new day and a new investigation into one of the Justice League International characters that are the primary suspects in the attempted killing of Lex Luthor. So, yeah, I'm excited to see where this one goes. Definitely been waiting on this character to show up. He's kind of been one of the prime suspects for me between Oberon and him, because we haven't seen either of them in this series yet. So by omitting a character, it makes you think maybe they'll just bring him in toward the end as that villain. Yeah, what is going on? Kenneth Bird is in the building. Hello to you, my friend. Hope you are doing well. And next up from Sean Gordon Murphy, and this might have to be my favorite cover they've done out of this run so far. We have Batman Beyond the White Knight, issue number 6. So we had that the big face-off, I guess, with Powers, Batman Beyond, and Bruce Wayne in that last issue that ultimately ended with Powers. Looks like he's getting killed, but it was the origin story of Blight. So we're going to see him in his actual villain form. But we're also supposed to be getting some Dick Grayson versus Jason Todd action in here. And I always love when those two go head up and fight. I'm a Jason Todd guy. I'm not crazy. I do know that Dick Grayson should be the better fighter, but I'm a Jason Todd guy. And that's one thing I thought was cool about DC versus Vampires when they fought. Jason Todd bested him, straight up bested him. It took somebody else stepping in to shut it down. Ben Compton, how are you doing today? The one, the only, the man, the myth, the Panda. What is going on, my friend? Huge shout out to Panda. And next up, oh my God, I've been loving this one. We got Detective Comics issue 1065 by none other than Rom V. If there's anybody I know that can agree with me on Rom V, it's Mr. Flo Dameron.
Yes. That is my favorite DC writer right now.
Yeah. Are you up to speed on Detective Comics?
Yeah, I've been reading those. It's definitely a different a change of pace from Tamaki's run, which is cool. I did like Tamaki's run, but this is definitely more introspective, less explosions, less punching. So it's cool. It almost feels like dreamy, almost like you're like what's real, what's not, what's up there.
You can't leave Trev out.
Trev, what's up, Trev?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not seeing
what is going on, Technique. We have not got to the Riddler yet. I'll be hitting that one. It's actually next after this one. So this has been dope. I've really enjoyed this, like you said, the whole different style to it. It's got a completely different pacing, different tone, different everything than our primary Batman book. It's got that like overly gothic overtone to it, which I really enjoy. And I love when we're playing with like the deep historical aspects of Gotham and the whole Orgham family coming in to reestablish their name, which are the original Arkhams. And I like that they're kind of playing with it feels like mystical stuff. Like there's obviously like some kind of meta ability inside of their family. And then you have that secret white noise that's triggering people to become like monstrous. So I love the fact that there's a lot of mystery involved in a title called Detective Comics. It feels like it's very, very on brand. And the artwork and the art style is very gritty. Fits in it perfect.
Yeah, I think it's Raphael Albuquerque, which is like his stuff is really good, especially the way they like color it. It's cool. Like it's different. It's definitely modern, but it has those gothic tones, and it matches the writing, which is great.
Now, here's one I'd be interested to get your thoughts on, and I'm definitely interested in it. This is the Riddler Year One. So this is inside of the Batman movie universe from we saw earlier this year. So this is a Matt Reeves universe, and they got the actor who played the Riddler, Paul Dano, to actually write it. So I don't know where he's a proven writer or his ability to write. I know he's a phenomenal actor. So I was excited to see this, and it's supposed to be giving us that story of how he goes from just being innocent, whoever he is, to the psychopath that we saw in the movie. I have not even cracked the pages yet because I know the artwork is supposed to be one of the big draws of this book, and I don't want to get anything spoiled on any level. I kind of feel like this is one that you're going to have to kind of experience, kind of live in to really get the full intent of the book.
Yeah, for me, I think that it's exciting. In terms of like his writing ability, I think he did a lot of work to like build the backstory of the character, obviously to deep dive into it. And part of creating this book, I think Matt Reeves himself suggested it and was like, "Hey, like, I think that's a pretty good idea. Why don't I let me talk to some people?" And I think that's how he connected with DC. So I think it's fun. What's cool, what I've always really liked about DC, especially in the last years, how they've tied things back to the comic books. So they're like, hey, like, here's a special 3-trade collection that inspired the Batman the movie. Here's a collection that inspired Black Adam the movie, and it has like the movie poster and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're trying to connect the viewers to the readers and bring new readers in. Yeah, I think that's what it should do. Yeah, that's one of my critiques about other things, where if someone were to go watch whatever movie and then go into a comic shop excited and pick up the book, they would not recognize it at all. It shouldn't be like that. You should be trying to create that one cohesive fandom,
Yeah, and some things are out of print, you know what I mean? Like I think people learned that last year when they were like getting really excited about like the Disney Plus shows. They'll go watch WandaVision and then go to their shop and be like, hey, I heard House of M is like really good and connects to this. And then they're like, well, it's out of print. So you could check those back issues and see if you could put together six of them. Whereas like now you
re-release the trade. Exactly.
Yeah, you re-release the trade with some select stories, or you create a new trade that has like, hey, here's the best of, and they could go in, my LCS, when you go in, they have like a Black Adam fucking cutout where you could like grab the books from and stuff like that. So it's not even like
there was definitely one of those for the Batman in one of the shops here where it had like the Matt Reeves Batman on it, and then they filled it up with books. So I do believe that I saw, like, man, don't write this in stone, but I believe that I saw 2 variants for this Riddler book. I think
there's a Jim Lee one. I think like all the big books, I think I might be like making that up, but I'm almost sure that I saw a Jim Lee one.
I'm going to assume you're making it up, but I'm also going to assume you're correct. You're probably correct. What is going on? We got Pops Addict has joined the stream. How are you? Brother John is up in here. I heard House of M was good.
I am not lying. There is a Jim Lee one. It is the B cover.
He said, Flo, no one says that. Dude, I loved House of M. It was wild. That was one of my favorite little, like, the Hulk stories that tied into that were amazing, because Magneto was ruling the world. Like, that was the whole concept behind it. But when somebody said something about needing to go speak to the Hulk and do something that would have infringed upon the Hulk's territory, even Magneto went and kind of acknowledged that he doesn't want no part of that. And he went and asked the Hulk for permission to proceed with what they wanted to do. I'm like, yeah, that was tight. And the Hulk had like war paint on and stuff. But yeah, I digress. Next up, kind of on the same thing, we have another actor that is writing a story currently, and issue 2 of that story came out. But I learned when issue 1 dropped that this actor is an established writer as well, and it's Bruce Campbell. He's writing the Sergeant Rock DC horror line, Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead. And that first issue was super fun, super duper fun. We get these awesome Gary Frank A covers, so obviously I have to go with those. I'm an A cover guy anyways, but I'm glad that they're doing Gary Frank on it. Phenomenal artist. But yeah, that's super fun. If y'all aren't reading this, I definitely suggest it. It's exactly what it says in the title. But when it says Army of the Dead, it's not referring to like the Evil Dead universe. This is all just cohesive DC universe stuff. And it's just Hitler and his evil regime and mad scientists have found a way to animate their dead soldiers and use them all over again. It's dope. It was super fun.
It's a fun book. It's one of those things where you get your $3.99s worth. You go in, you read it, you're like, this is fun, this is different. It's also a throwback in a lot of ways. It's a great book.
Oh yeah, I like the fact that they kind of like play with the time eras. Definitely takes place in the 40s. Like when they were sitting there prepping in issue 1, like guys, no longer are we going to be cut off from each other or have to stop and try to find the frequency and reach out, hope our radio guy doesn't get high. We have this new high tech. We will never be disconnected again. It's called a walkie-talkie. I think they even used a proper term. It's a handy talkie, but it was just a standard walkie-talkie, like their high-tech stuff. It was great. No. Ash is not going to show up. Like I said, it's not tied at all to the Evil Dead universe.
Watch as you say that at the end. There's like a tag.
Bruce Campbell and his Plymouth fall through a portal. Yeah. Yeah, it's just and it was cool. Like they kind of touch on the mad scientist aspect to it. You know, they have a serum that they developed, and then they actually have to use a little bit of an electric shock to kickstart the brain and the body for the serum to actually start pumping through their system again. And they have this little device that's on the back of the neck that has the serum and then a little bit of a battery to give it some juice. The Riddler actor never wrote a comic prior to this one. Yeah, but I don't know if he was written anything else. But Paul Dano is he's an interesting enough individual and actor that I'm intrigued to check this one out. And I'll be the first one to tell you that a lot of times when actors come into comics, that stuff just falls flat on its face. I'm trying to remember who it was that did the DC Villains anniversary. Was it Danny DeVito or something?
I think he's done like that was recent, right?
Yeah.
I think he did that. And
I didn't even pick it up. It had a gorgeous Liber Mayo cover on. Yeah, I don't want to see Frank from It's Always Sunny write a comic. I want him to continue.
I mean, he's also the Penguin.
He was the Penguin first, but he's Frank forever.
Yeah,
like, he's a stabber. Then I started blasting. Nick's Kicks and Comics is in the building. Hey, great to see Mark and a guy I share the same taste in movies with. Yeah, Nick and Flo absolutely loved Black Adam.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
Actually, in this show, I'll be giving away my Black Adam John Constantine because now I hate Black Adam.
Oh man, I hate to hear that. I'm actually going to go again this afternoon to see it again. Take the kids.
I feel sorry for your family.
They don't. Neither does 91% of everyone else who saw it.
Those were bots. They were bots.
That article you sent was hilarious. Reached out. It's Black Adam in time. Evil says that Danny DeVito is a huge horror movie writer. You can probably catch 100% of those movies on some kind of horror movie app, not in theaters. Next up, I'm excited to get the next issue of Action Comics, which is the next part of the return of Kal-El. And this is a little mini-series they're doing that's bouncing back between Action and Superman, Son of Kal-El, just getting us to that 1050 issue before we get that fresh, they hit that fresh reset button to the next era of Superman comics. You can already see the writing on the wall with what's going on with the Philosians here from Battle World, with those 2 kids that he saved over there that are kind of kicking it with the Superman family. But I'm pumped to see where this goes after that last issue where we actually saw John Kent and his dad meet back up since all these events kicked off. And man, it was one of the most heartfelt comics I've read in a while. I'm excited to see what's going to go on with Metallo in this as well. They're kind of building him out to be extra creepy. And now that they have what's called God, an orphan box from World. It's like a new power source that they can put in Metallo. And Philip Kennedy Johnson did something very unique with Mongol. He kind of added something to the character to make it where he's not just this throwaway villain that's been defeated numerous times before, but it's more of a concept. It was like a Mongol was a title, and the only way to earn that title was to usurp your father before you, making you tougher and tougher. Every time there's a new Mongol, he's stronger, he's more conniving, he's more whatever, but it's a higher threat level every time. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do with Metallo, and we're already getting ideas with this orphan box becoming a new power source instead of just kryptonite. So I like that about what Philip Kennedy Johnson is doing. He's breathing new life into characters that have been reused to where it's kind of, we get these characters that we love, that we want to see, but they're not just like, okay, how is he going to beat him this time? We're going to have to see something new from our super family to do something about it. I'm definitely loving that.
And it's a great jumping on point if you haven't, like for me, I haven't read any of the run, and I was able to pick up the last issue and jump right in and get really excited. And I was like, oh my God, now that I have DC Ultra, now I can go back and read all those issues and really feel connected. But, you know, if you want to jump in, like, you know, ask your shop if they have last month's issue, because it's a really great jumping on point for what's to come.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, this is just part 3. This is right after that big War World saga ended. And to House of L's point here, he said, I heard House of L got canceled. Flows out.
Oh, God.
He said he heard Son of Kal-El got canceled. The run is over. It's not a matter of getting canceled. The Superman Son of Kal-El comic book only existed because the War World saga. Superman left Earth. He was not here to have a book. So John stayed behind, so this series split. Well, Kal-El's back, so that book no longer has a purpose. It would make no sense for that book to continue. So that book ran just like how Marvel does a run and then resets at 1. That was the run of this book. And we've been talking about it here on the channel for a long time, how it felt like that story was even kind of drug out to get to the point of Kal-El returning. So John Kent's next little solo outing will be in a 6-issue miniseries, Adventures of Superman, as well as seeing him in the events like Lazarus Planet and other stuff with that electric blue condition he will have, which I'm pumped for.
Actually, I mean, as much as I love Son of Kal-El, and I wish it wasn't being reshuffled, I love what they're doing with reshuffling it, because now you have Action taking the super family, you have Superman covering Clark Kent, and then you'll have all these other little things going on here and there. There was very few Batman announcements at NYCC for 2023. So overall, it sounds like they're trying to put Superman and the super family, like more in the forefront next year instead of Batman.
Which is a big initiative for the company, because, you know, when they had their last investor call, you know, like in terms of the big brands and IPs they put up there is Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. And if you read the reports around like Henry Cavill returning, you know, David Zaslav, part of the frustration with DC is like, hey, like this character's been on the sidelines for so long. Why isn't there another movie? Why isn't there a focus and stuff? So you're seeing that really reflect in the comics, which is great. You know, if you could have a Bat family, why not a Superman family? But let's just hope there's not like 30 Superman.
I don't want them in everything,
but Superman, but I don't want that either. Like I want what they're doing. Like give us Action, give us Superman. And like a little mini series here and there is perfectly fine, you know. But that's two ongoings and then something to dip into to play with a little bit. And I think that's great. And what they're going to be doing with Action is it's going to be a little bit of an oversize, from what I understand, going forward, where it'll have 2 or 3 creators on it doing shorts in it, which I enjoy and I don't enjoy, because what it does, it gives you more characters to get to read about, but it really doesn't give you. You never really feel like you get enough from any one issue when you do that. And we learned that during that Infinite Frontier era with those backstories and having to suffer through like 10 pages of Justice League Dark, which was like one of the best reads coming out that month.
The majority book for the minority state.
You had to suffer through Justice League to read Justice League Dark. Which was, and what sucks too is because, you know, I want to buy the trade, that it collects it, but then I'm like, oh, I already paid for DC Ultra and I want to read it through there, but it's just like I have to go to the back issue. I have
They
to
don't have
go
it.
to the
They
back.
don't have it separated for those issues when
I
they
don't
did
think
that.
so. Not on the app.
I never
You
thought
know,
of that. Yeah,
it's
That'd be
separated in the
nice, yeah.
trade. Like
you might
there
be able
is
to
a
read it
Justice League
under like storylines or something. How they do the collected storylines, just hit Justice League Dark because they did that backup story, but then it had its own individual like what was it,
annual.
like a 48-page annual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where they, dude, I'm like, I can't wait for this annual to see how it ends. And they didn't end it. They really just did a prelude to an event in it. Like Merlin just savagely waxed off, and he went to the source wall and trash talked Darkseid's father. Like you stuck on the store. Like, dude, this is next level huge what they're building with Justice.
Well, some of that, funny enough, is kind of like if you're reading Batman versus Robin, some of that you're like, oh, like I think that that ties into kind of like what's happening to Lazarus.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
you
so
first see the Dark Crisis, they're all like beat up in shambles, licking their wounds in their
yeah,
in their base. And
Even then, I don't really see that as the end game though, because notice like the creative team, like they didn't give us official teams, but the creatives behind a lot of Lazarus Planet, Ron V's name is not in there. Some of his like, cohort and stuff is in there, but he himself is not mentioned. And we know he did the Justice League Dark thing. I think Lazarus Planet is the gateway to a bigger magic-based event for the summer.
yeah,
And I think Ron V's architecting that, and that's why he's sitting this out, because he needs to be all in and focused on whatever he's building for that.
And see, that's what I mentioned. Like with the Demon Azal, they've proven to not be able to stop him. It has been proven. This is a situation where there's no besting him; you can only imprison him, and they know how to do that already. They done figured that out. They just got to force him into that chamber and shut it down. So
have him say his name backwards. That's going to be the next thing.
Yeah. So if they're not going to be able to pull that off,
No.
the only thing that's going to shut this guy down is Merlin. That's my prediction. That Merlin, who's waging a war on magic, doesn't matter whose side you're on, what you're trying to do with magic. Like, so that puts the Demon Azah in Merlin's crosshairs.
Yeah. Well, see, and he has a stranglehold on all magic users, so they're kind of down and out right now. That gives, your Superman and all of the like A-listers, the opportunity to come in and imprison him again, release that stranglehold, and then have a big thing with Merlin later once they're back and powered up.
That would be dope. There's so much good stuff being built with the magic-based users over at DC right now. What is going on, Bart? I can't wait to see what they're going to do. I love those characters, and they're finally getting some room to breathe. And I think it's dope that they're bringing in the Monkey Prince as a primary character, because with DC Ultra now, I can get caught up on that as well before January hits for sure.
I've heard that's a really good series. Like I want to get back on it and stuff. So I could read the 5 issues. And
well, it's going to be clutch, because like Ryan can explain it with the lore that the Demon Azah as well as Monkey Prince is pulled from.
Yeah. I mean, they both come from the same background, the Chinese lore. So it's going to be interesting to see them like meet and what that means. Because like the Monkey Prince, he deals in magic also, but it seems to be a different sect of magic, So I do wonder like what Neza and him, how that's going to collide as well.
It'd be dope. So real quick, I do have one more book to show from this week, and it is my cover pick of the week. And it's DC versus Vampires number 10, which I am actually caught up on reading again, thanks to DC Ultimate. And it is fire.
Ultra.
And this cover, DC Ultra, this cover really encapsulates probably the most shocking moment in all of it. And it's that John Jang 1-in-25 variant of the Vampire King himself holding, if you read it, you know whose heart he's holding. But that scene came out of nowhere. I even knew that Nightwing was the big bad, but that scene still caught me completely off guard. And that is just a wicked variant for that. Absolutely loved it. So if you are somebody who chases down 1-in-25s, go be on the lookout for that one this week, as well as if you can order them ahead of time with your shop. Don't forget that Lazarus Planet Alpha one shot that'll come out. We'll have a 1-in-25 with a Cyborg and that giant Cyborg mech suit from Jang as well. Wicked awesome.
Yeah. And on Ultra, all these issues that we're showing today, the last issue is now on there. So, DC versus Vampires 9 is on there, including the previous issues. So if you want to catch up,
the tie-in series, All Out War, is on there.
Dude, it's been, you know what's great about it for me? There's issues that I have that I just put in a box and I don't really organize anything. And then I'm like, "Oh, I want to read this." And then I'm like, "I don't know what box it's in." So, it's been really great to be able to catch up on things like Beyond the White Knight, you know, DC versus
Mhm.
Vampires, and some other stuff. I actually finished Strange Adventures last night, which is good.
Get
I know.
away from
I
me.
didn't love the ending. I didn't love the ending, but it was good.
I'm waiting on something bad to happen. Man, it was
Yeah.
good. It was
Yeah.
really good. I like the level of gut level honesty that was pulled through with some of those characters like Mr. Terrific, where when you can speak a truth that is so painful and so honest to say, like when he was talking about the loss of his family.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, that was wild. That was absolutely wild. I heard a couple reviewers when it was coming out was critiquing that. I'm like, bro, y'all have never experienced loss.
Yeah.
You've never experienced loss. And if you did, you never processed it honestly. Like that was next level. It was really good.
Adam Strange, the war criminal.
Dude, but it's really cool when you get into like this how subjective morality can be, especially in the event of war and what you're fighting for. But man,
and also the lens. I think it was cool that they had two different artists. You know,
yes,
it definitely played
and
towards that you know, that two different viewpoints of what war is like, you know, and obviously perspectives and stuff. So it was good. I think there was one thing I was like the ending. Again, I didn't love, but it was.
I mean, it's been out long enough. What part about the ending? Because I
just didn't like that. That Adam, you know, kind of like died like a bitch. Like it was just like a struggle, and it was like pew pew, and then he's just dead on the floor, and then he's not in the last issue. So I mean, granted, like, you know, if there was like a huge monologue of him confronting what he did and stuff like that, that might have been even cornier or whatever. I just thought like he never really got to face what he did, which I would have liked to have seen. And also, him and Terrific never really interact.
They don't need to.
Yeah, I felt like
I think that played even better to it. What was the name of the Picks when he just started reading Pick for the first time in that series? That moment when he was on Rand with their top scientists trying to decipher, and he just starts reading it. I'm like, this guy.
Yeah, there's some great moments.
Yeah, they really flexed that character. Like Michael Holt is one of the smartest minds in DC Universe, and they did it and they showed it with such subtlety. You know, they didn't have to tell you; they showed you. You know, like this is.
It was cool that they, you know, like him with him asking himself basically, you know, trivia questions. Like I felt like it's that, like, you know, a smart person's version of completing a Rubik's Cube while they're talking to people.
Yeah.
It's just like, what are you doing? It's like, oh, I'm just doing this. This, you know, keeps my mind sharp.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool. It was really cool. I enjoyed it.
Isn't Human Target out today?
Yeah, that was the first one that I showed. Yeah, we got Rocket Red coming in and questioning Chris about where his friend Guy is. And like I mentioned earlier, he's probably not going to find him because of reasons, because this is not a spoiler show.
He's where Adam Strange is.
It was a really cool issue. It was a ton of fun.
I'm sure it is. I love the cover. Like you get, it almost reminds, like I just love that you get Rocket Red with Chris chained up and bloody, where from the line of questioning. Rocket Red's got them hard hitting questions.
Yeah.
I was saying earlier that like, until this issue, and I mean I haven't read it yet, so it could be even after that. Rocket Red and Oberon are kind of like my top suspects. If it's going to be like a twist, and it is a Justice League International member, those are two characters that we haven't seen yet, you know, and kind of sidelining a character until, you know, whatever reason is a good reason to have not seen him so far. But here's Rocket Red, and we still got 4 issues to go, so maybe this will be his innocent card that gets pulled in this issue. We'll see.
I'll catch up on DC Ultra.
DC Ultra, the app.
Yeah.
I can't speak highly enough about it. I've already got my annual membership's worth of reading done within 3 weeks of upgrading to that.
No, for sure. I've definitely dived deep, and even like some of the old catalog stuff I've dived into. Like I read like all of like Jimmy Palmiotti's Jonah Hex run, which is like 70 issues. I just finished, Strange Adventures. I'm about to start Human Target because now I'm like, oh yeah, I could read, all 6 or 7 issues that are available now.
I would go so far as say it'll probably like just me just judging your taste from where I sit. I bet it'll end up being your favorite TK book.
Yeah. I mean, I like TK. It's just like Rorschach was really, and also messing with you guys is why I was like, you gotta die with the bit.
Die with the lie.
You gotta commit.
All right. So House of Bell says he saw the new Super Sons movie. It was really good. He still doesn't like the art though. Me and him have talked. The new art direction that they changed when they did Superman Man of Tomorrow, everything after the cohesive animated universe they had, how they started building a new one post the Dark Side or Apocalypse War movie, the artwork changed dramatically. For a long time, they based the artwork off the comics that they were being pulled from. And then they got into this really shared universe style, and they just did the same artwork throughout, which is very similar to what you see in the Young Justice animated show. So everything you're watching is very uniform. And they're still doing that now, but they've done it with a slightly different art style with like harder outlines on stuff. The action and stuff is more fluid in the new stuff, I would say. But we do have a brand new movie. It was out last week. I'm late playing catch up with the whole C3 event and everything, but I did pick up my copy today. So I'll hopefully be watching this in the next day or two here.
Good. So good.
And Jeremy Adams, the current writer of The Flash, is actually who wrote this, and The Flash has been stellar, so I expect this to be stellar. And on top of that, one of the funnest villains to get to deal with, Starro, is in this doing his thing.
Yeah.
I love Starro, man. He's just fun.
No, Starro's great. More Starro. Suicide Squad, more Starro.
More Starro.
More Starro. I've got a fever, and the only cure is more Starro.
So, yeah, that's available to purchase in store as well as if you buy stuff digitally. Be sure to go check that out.
Also, a great animated movie that's in the animated universe that I'm actually going to watch tonight. The Green Lantern animated movie that recently came out, I think Beware My Power, comes out, actually is out on HBO Max now. Max. So if you have HBO Max, check it out.
Yeah, this was dope, especially that last act. Like, it really fires off. And if you're a fan of Adam Strange and cosmic characters, you don't want to miss out on this.
Yeah, if you don't want to see him die by pew pew.
A long time ago when Human Target first came out, I posted on Instagram, not Human Target, I'm sorry, Strange Adventures. I posted on Instagram one of those how we see ourselves, how others see us, and how we see ourselves. It was a picture of Adam Strange shooting, screaming with that Doc Shaner artwork, and it says pew pew. And then the next one was a picture of Finn in like those Kanye shade glasses, like a diaper, holding a little Buzz Lightyear gun.
Pew pew.
Pew pew.
No, Mitch Jared's art is so good. I love the in the back when it has like sort of his art with quotes, like from the book. Like
on the
like
back
a big one. Yeah. So it's
they still do that with a lot of this stuff. I think they do it like on the inside page for this series. I can't remember what recent series I was reading. It might have been the that Gotham series that came out. Because I started avoiding those because I don't want to see that yet. I'll wait till I'm done reading it. Yeah. So there's some books from last week. Haven't reviewed anything we read last week because of the show this past Sunday. We just talked Black Adam and dipped out early. And as a reminder to everyone, we are going to be giving away the Black Adam variant for Action Comics issue 1048. The Ivan Tao dope cover there. We'll be giving that away before we leave today. But there was a lot of news that came out from Black Adam actually being a audience success. It's getting rave reviews from audiences. There are people who weren't.
Shout out to the bots. Shout out
to the bots. And critics didn't like it. Audiences loved it, but it got really successful numbers. It's performing really well financially. It did over $67 million domestically, and even more than that overseas for a total of over $150 million opening weekend, making it Dwayne Johnson's highest grossing movie that he's the main star of for opening weekend, at least. We really don't know how it'll perform or if it'll have legs, if people will go back to see it or continue to see it. Won't know till that happens or doesn't happen, but there were articles that were coming out where the studio was talking about not making the fans wait to see the fight that was teased at the end with Superman and Black Adam, that they're going to be getting things and trying to keep this momentum going. Henry Cavill posted on social medias yesterday, which was probably the most exciting thing that I've seen on social media in my life.
It overshadowed the Ant-Man trailer. It was like
There's an Ant-Man trailer?
Yeah. Which is pretty impressive, because there is, technically he doesn't have a deal for a movie to come back and stuff like that. So the fact that he could just post that, hey, I'm back and there's more to come, and it literally, shuts down. I think Disney definitely was like, fuck, what? He could have done this tomorrow. Not to say that, like, I'm excited I love the Ant-Man movies.
Yeah,
but,
it looked good.
Obviously when you're talking about Superman, it's something people have been waiting for and are really excited for.
Yeah, his post was amazing. It was so simple. It was so straight to the point. You can see how happy he was to be able to announce it. He got on there and he said, I was wanting to post this, but wanted to wait till people had a chance to see Black Adam, and a lot of you had. So I just wanted to let you know that that what you saw at the end of the movie was just a taste of what's to come. There's a lot more planned. And for all of you that waited and been supporting, it will all have been worth it. I'm like,
Went from 6 to midnight.
Yeah, instantly.
If there was one thing I liked about Black Adam, was the character that wasn't Black Adam, Superman. Hawkman was dope too.
Hawkman, man, that was just awesome. I don't know why, like, that just stood out so much for me. I think they just nailed that character. So, like, I don't think there's a bad representation of any of the characters that were in it at all. They were so true to the comics, and they were so true to what you expect. Like, when I sat down, what I was hoping to see from these performances, like how I picture them in my mind from reading these books, there they were. They were just there, exactly how my mind's eye takes them off of the pages. They were right there, acting the same way, performing the same way, reacting to situations the same way. I'm like, this is
Yeah,
amazing.
I had a different reaction, but
yeah, but you can put cream on that and it'll go away.
Yeah, some antibiotics. No, but I thought it was that's true. I don't even really have a response for that, but yeah.
You got to leave that one alone, man.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no way to respond to that doesn't dig your grave.
Yeah, so but I just had some issues with the story, but I think most of my problems come from, like, hey, Black Adam's not that interesting of a character if it's not like a Shazam villain. And I really like going back to last week.
Agree with that more. Like, I could disagree with that comment more if you tried. Like, there's the most interesting things.
Be wrong if you try. Be wrong if you try.
The most interesting things about Black Adam are when Shazam's not involved. And I can point you to the stories. Black Adam is more involved with other characters than he is with Shazam. That is such a common misconception because he wears that suit that you think, oh, he's a Shazam guy. No, he's tied.
Yeah, I feel like it's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate that he has to say Shazam to get his powers. Why do people think he's connected? No, I really like the Chris Priest run that's going on right now. I think he's trying to build out that character and to have his own,
that book is fire.
Pantheon and, building out the gods. And, that's cool that, like, even though editorial told him no when it came to the new gods, he was just like, you know what? I'll find some other gods to put in the book. And it's creating and he does a good job of being like, hey, Black Adam is an irredeemable character. We shouldn't try to make him a hero. He's a villain. This is why. So I like that book. Go read Black Adam by Chris Priest.
Yeah, it's dope. I like how meaty of a read it is. I like my meaty reads, and it is a meaty read and with subtle moments of badassness.
Yeah. But
so that's guys. That's piling up from last week. All right, man.
Yeah, I gotta tell you. I think we talked too much Black Adam. I'm like up to here. I don't think I don't know if you noticed, but I came in after the Tom King book, and then I am leaving as we're talking about Black Adam.
Yeah, so when you go to open DC Infinite, Go look up JSA Black Rain and read that series. It's just like an 8 issue, I think, series where Black Adam decided to go take back Kandak. It's what the movie was mostly pulled from. And you remember what book was it you sent me with Black Adam on the cover?
It was JSA. It was
okay,
issue.
You can leave now.
Yeah.
There's my point. You can leave now.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason I gave it away.
I got the screenshot. Yeah. I know why. That book, it is a gorgeous cover. But yeah, seriously, go check out.
I'll read it. I think the books and stuff. I just the podcast is going to come out soon, but like I think offline we'll talk about like my issues with it and stuff. It was more with like it felt very. I felt it could have been better, like some of those story things and stuff.
Sure. I don't argue that at all. For me, though, I think it was exactly what we needed as DC fans right now, just to show that the studio hears us and to deliver us something fun, something tough, something badass. And I feel it had enough story to drive the plot forward and still leave a lot on the table for more, because when it all comes down to it, when I hear the complaints about we need a more JSA explanation, well, no, because if they'd done that, you would have heard the other people that are complaining there wasn't enough Black Adam. I'm like, bro, you can't have it both ways. Like, if someone's going to be sad on one way or the other. I think they delivered perfectly well for what they were doing. Yeah, and if you read Black Rain, you'd be like, okay, and then watch the movie again, you're like, okay, that shit was dope.
I like that they got stuff out. I like that they didn't like give us a ton of time on like. did y'all ever see the Ender's Game movie?
I did not.
No, I did
no.
Not.
Okay, the movie was pretty good, right? But it was basically like all of the action moments of the book. The book is 1,000 times better because you get all the little things in between that really make all those action moments live up. And so when you're reading the book, when you're in like 7th grade, 20 years before they make the movie, you're like, oh man, this would be really cool to see in the movie. This would be really cool. But you don't want to see that whole book turned into a movie. And that's kind of what this felt like, was like, hey, we're giving you like all the action stuff. Now go pick up a comic book and learn about Hawkman. Go pick up a comic book and learn about Dr. Fate, because you saw them. They were cool. They were in motion. They were in action. That's what you want to see on the screen. Now go read about it and like get into it. I feel like a lot of movies today do all this hand holding to say like, no, you shouldn't ever have to do anything outside of this movie in order to like know everything about this character. And it's a 2-hour movie. That's just not reasonable, you know?
Yeah. Well, my uncle's cutting off my internet access, so I have to get off, guys.
Well, man, definitely read that though. I promise you'll love it.
No, it's actually highlighted on the app. They have like Black Rain and I think one other JSA Black Adam story. So I'll read those for sure.
Fall of an Empire is probably the other one they have on there right now. And for that woman, Adriana, and her son Amon, they're going to be real important moving forward with that character. I promise you that. And it's not because of romantic interest.
I mean, they were terrible characters. So
it's got to be Isis and Osiris. On the bet on it, that's going to be Isis and Osiris.
Yeah. Later, guys.
Take it easy. All right. So we got a couple minutes here. Ryan, do you want to review some stuff we didn't get a review last week before we give away this Action Comics 1048 Ivan Tao variant?
Yeah. I will tell you though, Matt, I still haven't got to read Aquaman or Rogues.
Neither have I. I haven't read Aquaman, Rogues, Penguin, or Black Adam. It's all the meaty reads I wasn't able to get to.
This Black Adam issue was fire.
Yeah, that's actually next on my stack. But
dude, like, oh man, it starts exactly where you want it to. Like,
I'm so nervous about this.
Oh yeah, I don't even care. I didn't read it. Pocan Joe reviewed it. He seemed to like it.
It's a villain book, so maybe that was my thing. Like, I cannot stand John Ridley writing these heroes because he doesn't know how to not be a villain in real life when it comes to it. But this is a villain he's working on, and I haven't like really gave that a try. So I'm going to give that a try. I will not read his hero stuff though, unless he makes a huge shift in dynamics between how he views the heroes in the DC universe. But picked up Rogues, haven't read it yet. Final issue. Picked up Andromeda, haven't read it yet. Final issue. Really excited. I read this morning. Terrible. The writer of this, Fitzmartin, she messed up that issue 2, then it was getting back on track, and then she spent this entire issue as a social media post to the people who complain about her writing instead of writing a comic book. She can go to hell. Flash 787, fantastic. World's Finest number 8, fantastic. Deceased War of the Undead Gods number 3. I don't know how, but every issue from the first series, issue 1 to this, keeps getting better. Just amazing stuff. And then Flashpoint Beyond finished off super strong. I got that 120. Yeah, that's what I got. So if you read any of those, let's get one or two.
I think literally the only crossover was World's Finest.
Well, let's start there then.
Yeah. So World's Finest, this was a really cool issue. We got Superman in action. We got Batman and Robin stuck out of action. And we got a hero out of Thunderboy, or whatever his name is. Thunderboy, right?
Boy Thunder.
Boy Thunder. There we go.
Clap or something. That don't even sound right.
Yeah. I was like, Thunderclap? No. Starting to sound like a wrestler from the 90s or something.
Yeah.
Late 80s. No, it was really cool. Like,
we got the Teen Titans in this issue, which was dope. Seeing Dan Mora's artistic genius on those characters.
Yeah. This is some of his finest work, man. It's so good. So basically, like, the key guy was like, hey, you all have like this paranoia of windows and doors, and so like everybody was stuck inside because they couldn't go through windows or doors. And so I put different people in some very tight situations. Batman and Robin couldn't leave the Batcave. You had hospitals where doctors couldn't even go into rooms to like help patients. You had firefighters that couldn't leave fire stations because they were scared of doors. And so that was like kind of interesting, not really interesting of itself necessarily, but it did like sideline Batman and Robin. So that made that a little bit interesting. And then it also put a coal mine situation in direct conflict with, Boy Thunder. So he had to go, basically he needed to prove himself as a hero after he's been doing all of it's like a super STD. So basically he needed to go save these coal miners because they were trapped inside the mine. They couldn't exit, but in order to open the doors, he needed to they explode the lock. And so he was so he was unable to do that because they're in a coal mine. So he needed to step up, but then his PTSD kind of steps in the way and he's unable to do it because he watched his whole planet explode. And so he's, fearful that he's going to blow up all these coal miners. So it was really cool just like getting to see him step up as a hero, but also see him deal with the PTSD. And we got to see like the Teen Titans. We got to see Superman and these like mentorship training roles and kind of like teaching him and explaining the ways of the superhero, like why wear a mask or why have a disguise or, why your powers are important or that you need to be restrained in your use of your powers, to protect the people around you and stuff. So it was cool because it touched on like the mentality of being a superhero as well as, showing us Boy Thunder in action.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was Mark Waid continues to write such a well-rounded story. The way like we have this awesome, we always have this awesome primary plot that's moving things along. And in this one, we're really kickstarting a new plot, and that like they give us the whole what's his name, the locksmith or the lock king? I forgot. Is the key?
Yeah, the key, I think.
Yeah, and he first appeared in like an old Justice League book because I was looking at old Black Canary Silver Age appearances, and his first appearance shares a minor key with her, and it was cool that like that's our primary thing going on. But the real story that carries through is like you pointed out the PTSD of this new character and how he's trying to learn to interact in this world that's not his own. And I love the little twist that they gave at the end of this. And spoiler warning to those in the chat, we are now in last week's territory. So we are talking spoilers for last week's comics, nothing from this week anymore. So don't worry about that. But when they make that real soft comment to him at the end, like, you shouldn't feel this way. You didn't do this to your world. And then that's when you see like his expression change and you can see the weight of his pain really start to bear down on him. And we get that little flashback to his world where it's implying that him and his abilities are what caused the destruction of his planet. So we're getting this whole new little twist in there. And if he'll potentially just continue to be like a tragic character, or if he has some kind of nefarious motive, I don't know. But one thing that's super cool about this series already is they've delivered the demon Nazah, who's like alpha level villain. And now they're introducing a brand new character again in the second arc that has like alpha level world destroying abilities potentially. So World's Finest is pulling no punches, bringing us brand new characters, brand new stories in a familiar, like very nostalgic feeling comic that can deliver to any fan of any age. So this is a must pick up book. It's we've said it before. It's probably the strongest monthly title that's been coming out since issue 1 from DC Comics. Easy.
Yeah. Well, and what's interesting there is like, the Devil Neza, he is outwardly evil, like his goal is just to like rule the world and stuff, like he doesn't really care. Whereas this character is more of a tragic character, but you can kind of see in his PTSD and his flawed nature that there is room for something more insidious to seep in. And at the end of this issue, they introduce the Joker actually being like an evil Joker, not just like the Joker we've seen of late where he's like the clown prince. No, like this seems like a very evil and sinister Joker. And then, we have like the background of what he did with Jason Todd and how he seeped into his head and everything.
What is going on? We got a long-time listener, first-time commenter. Hi, all. Loving the show.
So, like, while the Devil Neza is like a really cool villain to have just like as an evil thing, this could turn into like, a flawed anti-hero sort of tragic story of a villain as well. So this could be a very intricate character. It'll be interesting to see what comes of all this.
Yeah, I'm pumped for it. What else did you pick up? You said that was really the only overlap we had this week.
Yeah, well, I mean, Aquaman and Rogues, obviously, but neither of us have read it, so there's nothing to talk about there.
This coming Sunday, though, no question about it. We're going to like pass on reviewing and spoiling those phenomenal series so far, both of them. So I'm excited to see how they end. I'm glad that I still have them to read, but it's not come and gone. Well, I'm going to touch on this real fast since we don't have much overlap real quick. This was Flashpoint Beyond's final issue. Jeff Johns with Jeremy Adams and something Sheridan, who worked on Teen Titans Academy. This was amazing. I was expecting it to have a little bit more ties into Dark Crisis. It kind of hit on those ties and then actually moved past them early on. But what it did is that in this final issue, we wrapped up the story in amazing fashion with Rip Hunter and Batman fighting. Rip Hunter wanting to close the Flashpoint world. Then we found out Batman actually saved his father from the last time we seen him by opening up this world. He went into the Time Masters, their facility where they hold items that have infringed upon hypertime, and he got the snow globe and the watch that belong to Dr. Manhattan because the tachyon energy that's inside of him, and he used that energy to contain the Flashpoint world so it didn't go out of existence and save his father. Rip Hunter wants to shut it down because of how volatile it is to all of existence, and Bruce Wayne, knowing his father, knows that it's worth the risk that his dad will make the proper decisions inside of this world and be able to solidify it to keep it there. And we do get those events that play out that way. Rip and Batman have this fight that are going all out. And while we're seeing inside the Flashpoint world, Thomas is teetering. Is he going to make the right call? Is he not? Is he going to accidentally implode this universe and cause horrible ripple effect throughout all the multiverse? But he makes the right call, and Bruce gets to tell Rip, like, see, it played out right, and Rip gets to get on his case for making such a horrible judgment call and risking so much. From Rip's perspective, it seemed like a big risk, but Bruce, from his perspective, it's a no-brainer, So it was cool getting to see that dynamic. And then at the end, we get a little moment with Rip Hunter where he's walking through their facility and seeing that it didn't get away unscathed. Bruce's actions did open up and release some other stuff. And we got our first tease at our upcoming JSA stuff from Jeff Johns, where we'll be getting the Golden Years one-shot. We'll be getting the Stargirl series as well as the JSA series. Well, the Stargirl series is supposed to be introducing a lot of new characters like the JSA stuff has done in the past. And you get to see all of the holding chambers of all these new characters with their name tags on it, and all of them are free. So the events of this are what actually lead us into the upcoming JSA content. So that was really cool.
Cool. Nightwing 97, that was fire. Yeah, so Blockbuster is dead, like dead as a doornail. They have him laid out on an autopsy table with a hole in the center of his chest, so like he's dead. And so that put them in a situation where basically like Blockbuster kept all these like super detailed spreadsheets so that he knew exactly who owed him what and stuff. Well, they have those files. So now all of the crime families and all of the criminals know who has slighted who. And so with Blockbuster gone, he's not really in control of like all of the crime in Bloodhaven. And so essentially like they have to take Maroney out. Well, they have to take him out of the city to Gotham because everybody's going to try to kill this guy, right? And they need the information he has. So they take him to a safe house, and him and Babs like spend some time together at this safe house with Maroney all knocked out. But then like at the end, this I can spoil it, right? At the end, like this taxi shows up, and they're in the middle of the woods.
I don't know if he was in here when we gave the fair warning that we're moving into the spoiler side of the show. We're spoiling comics from last week at this point. This is at week's end light at this point. He was talking about, I guess, the Blockbuster spoiler.
Oh, well, that was an issue before. That was like 2 months ago at this point.
Okay.
Like he dies clear as day at the end of the last issue. This one though, they have him laid out, so for sure, And so basically, like at the end of this issue, like Rick Grayson shows up. So I'm not sure where it's headed at this point.
Separate person named Rick?
Like this taxi's waiting outside. They're like in this safe house in the middle of the woods that like Batman had set up and stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then there's like a taxi outside. All of a sudden, Babs is like, yo, there's a taxi outside. And like Nightwing goes outside and this dude like pokes his head out. He's like, yo, I'm here to pick you up. My name's Rick Grayson. And it's like,
was he drawn to look just like Dick Grayson?
He looks mostly like Dick Grayson, but with like a baldish head, like.
Is it like bald, or is it like a Captain Picard?
You can't really tell because he just like kind of like leans out the window. It didn't get into that much detail.
Very weird.
Yeah, so I don't know where it's headed from here. That was like a really weird ending for it all. But the rest of it's cool. A lot of action and stuff. You still haven't read the Marvel Family, right?
No, I have not. I
mean, you know the story.
I watched your short though.
Yeah. I mean, you know the story though. Like that was pretty cool. It's interesting to see Black Adam like introduced so well, like all in one story from 1939 or whatever. No, 1945.
42.
42?
I think it was 42, wasn't it?
I was thinking it was 45.
Yeah.
Either way. But yeah, I mean, like the way that character is introduced, it's like, boom, he returns to Earth, like everything goes down and then they take him out. And like, it's a very like whole completion. Like, I know we've had other like versions and they've kind of like, redone his origins and stuff and updated and this, that, and the other. But like in the story itself, like it's so well done. It's like they really didn't need to. Like it's well done. It's very well done. I was impressed.
You know what else is well done? Deceased. War of the Undead Gods. This is so good. So we're actually touching on a lot of cosmic characters now. This volume is really expanded beyond the Earth. That first volume focused on Earth and they lost the Earth. They had to go to New Earth or Earth 2 where they reside now. And now we're really into the cosmic stuff with the New Gods, with Apocalypse, the Green Lantern Corps heavily involved. And now we start this issue off with Adam Strange fighting the Rann-Thanagarian War, and the Zeta Beam that takes him away from wherever he's at against his will, takes him back to Earth in the midst of the fight where the Earth has been ravaged, where it's already been lost. And he pretty much gets killed and infected off the bat from Wonder Woman. So now you have an infected Adam Strange that gets against his will, traveled all throughout the cosmos, spreading this infection. And unfortunately for him, and unfortunately for a lot of the zombies that are coming up, is they accidentally crash Lobo's bar. So now Lobo is involved, and it really gets savage quick. They scratch Lobo. It doesn't do anything to him. We got a $10 super chat from Comics Journey. You didn't suck this past weekend. Thank you so much. He is the self-proclaimed in it, rightfully earned it. He's one of the champs of the weekend. He came out, showed out, and really supported. I appreciate that. But, dude, Lobo doesn't get infected, and he starts ripping heads, turning necks, and the Thanagarians, Hawkman's race, he immediately rips some wings off of them and puts them on himself and just goes and wrecks their ships and everything. And then we have the God of War, Ares, coming in and meeting up with our heroes and just explaining to them that this future is already lost at this point. And he's like trying to do what he can. He takes them to his arsenal, lets them suit up, and he gets this book, this old ancient book, and he opens it up and explains to him that this whole darkness, this is beyond dark side. This isn't just an anti-life virus. This is actually the coming of Erebos, the actual god of darkness that is all the way back from Greek mythology. So they're adding in real Greek mythology lore and everything and some real weight to this event. So it's not just the same thing going on and on. They added an extra layer of danger. And this is like the manifestation of darkness. So it's basically the great darkness, like we're seeing in Dark Crisis, but what's an actual Greek mythology. So that was dope. I really enjoyed that. And real quick, we're gonna have to hit the brakes on the streams. The kids just pulled up. Everyone's got that hashtag in there already. I've had it going for a long time. You got about 5 seconds to put hashtag DC in there. I'm gonna spin this bad boy to see who today's winner is. Again, this is for Action Comics 1048, the Ivan Tao Black Adam variant. So let's spin this bad boy. And today's winner is El Green Machine. Congratulations, one of the channel members. Awesome sauce. Larry, hit me up on IG with your shipping. Actually, I should still have it not too far back in the chat. So, yeah, I'll get that out to you next Tuesday because, as everybody knows, Tuesdays are my shipping days, which ironically is the same day I do this. First day that I'm able to do early in the morning. So, congrats to him. And, Ryan, I appreciate you hopping on. I'm about to go help her get the kid out of the car and all that good stuff and figure out here. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be on the lookout for some great content from the both of us. And until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.